Aloha Kako, and welcome back to Just&True. I'm going to make a brief video just about Colombia and Venezuela and the actions and events that are going on to our south if you are in the United States. First of all, we had a pipe bombing, a pretty prominent pipe explosion go off in Colombia. To my knowledge, there were not any. This is not the Mexican explosion that went off as well. This is the Colombian one. There was not any fatalities, but it did do a large amount of infrastructure damage. Then we had a car bombing claimed by the ELN, a terrorist group. Terrorist group. I mean, it's defined a terrorist group by the United States government. ELN bombing of the police headquarters down in Colombia, which did kill 20 some odd and injured, I think, 16 or 17 additional targets. No non-combatant casualties. ELN's claiming the credit for that. They're also saying that it was a legal military action, that there was no non-combatant or civilian targets. Therefore, because the government of Colombia is proactively and actively engaged in combat, it was a legal target for them to hit. But my fear is with the failed coup of the United States to implement Juan over Maduro in Venezuela, the fact that there is a powerful OPEC seat over the next year during economic strife between the United States and China in the presidential seat of Venezuela, due to the fact that there was a military coup that also failed in Venezuela, and now that we're seeing multiple bombings throughout Colombia, which bombings aren't too they happen in Colombia, but not to this scale, not to this tactic. The ELN don't really they do car bombs, they do bombings, but they do it on a much smaller scale, and their MO is a little different. It's not large infrastructure pipelines because they know that that will cause other right-wing groups and large militaries to attack them. So, what I'm worried about is the fact that Colombia is going to use these attacks from a terrorist group, the ELN, on their infrastructure, military, and police headquarters and on other development. And they're going to use that as a reason to attack and invade Venezuela. When they do that, it'll be a legal action, and their ally, of course, is the United States. So Colombia and its allies, including the United States and Brazil, would have legal authority to invade and attack Venezuela. I do think that we have, as we meaning the United States, they have a motive to get down to Venezuela. They have shown in this past 6 months to a year that they have interest to try and coup d'etat or try and steal some of the power from Venezuela, so we could implement our own policies, central banking system policies, and oil policies down there. We also want to make major changes that we have not been able to get through Saudi Arabia on the OPEC board, because Saudi Arabia is getting really tight with Russia. So we're going to try and use this OPEC seat to make major changes and to make sure that our petrodollar and the US dollar is the back and basis dollar for people to be trading petro in. I think that's a huge, huge reason why we want to get down to Venezuela this year. So we failed our coup, we failed the military, and now we have these bombings, these terroristic bombings from an ELN group, but the ELN group does not have a home base. They do not. It's not a nation. They don't have a flag. It's not a country. Just like any other terrorist group, it's a splinter cell operation. Therefore, Colombia could identify targets in Venezuela as ELN groups, say that they are attacking, organizing, and creating infrastructure from Venezuela, and have legal action and authority to invade Venezuela with the United States and with Brazil, its allies. So I do think that this is something we need to keep our eye on. If you don't know about these groups or these players down in South America, please get to know them, start conversations and discussions. It's a lot harder to coup a country and a lot harder to get away with these stuffs when you have an educated population and even an international population speaking of this and starting a conversation. It all starts just with talking about it. So it's important because Venezuela is a sovereign nation. It's important because they have voted for who they want to be a leader. They are their own country. There's no reason for any other country to come down there and start bullying them around, to steal their power, to steal what they believe in, to usurp their throne, basically, to coup d'etat their leader. If we do see continued bombings, I'm not saying that we will, but if we do see continued bombings throughout that region of Colombia, particularly on oil infrastructure and development, and also on military and police headquarters and bases. If we see these bombings continue in Colombia and perhaps even throughout Brazil and other nations, then, and the ELN do take notice of it, you'll see their Colombian's leader want to attack without having any kind of peace talks, which the ELN's asking for. You may see them use this as an excuse to attack Venezuela, and in that case, it would be the United States. So this looks like it's a pretty suspicious activity, a suspicious event that the United States could be playing out, could be planning in order to use Colombia and or maybe even further down the line, Brazil to invade and attack Venezuela for not only its OPEC power, but also other economic standpoints and privileges that we're looking to acquire down there. Anyway, mahalo nui loa for coming in. Until next time, hui ho, and yeah, have a good day.